Now, ladies!
Yeah!
Welcome to the Holy Hour. I'm Amelia Sampson.
And I'm Liz Ball.
And we're reporting live from The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah. On a lighter note, I don't have COVID anymore.
That is a lighter note. I thought you were going to say something dark.
Oh, and we have a new background.
Look at us, if you're watching on YouTube.
And I dyed my hair last week.
And
or a couple weeks ago or something.
I look so good dark. I really like it dark.
Thank you.
And I need a shower.
We all have big updates, but
yeah, you actually have big updates. You're
not really.
I'm coronavirus free and I dyed my hair. I'm like, I haven't showered in like 3 weeks. I'm just kidding. It's just been a day, but I feel disgusting. We were texting earlier about how we were going to discuss what happened in the news. Yeah, literally yesterday.
We're recording on Tuesday right now, and last night, like pretty late last night, especially if you're on the East Coast, the news about Roe versus Wade came out
during the Met Gala's Gilded Age theme, which is fucking poetic.
It's atrocious.
Yeah, and very apocalyptic.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, then that was the talk this morning. So I'm sure when this comes out on Friday, we'll all have a little bit more information. Mm-hmm. I'm sure some other things will have happened between today and when this episode's released on Friday. But it's a shitty fucking day. It's a shitty day to be a woman. It's a shitty day to live in America. There has never once been a constitutional right revoked until now. And of course it's like, I think the thing that is so scary to me, like when I was reading it and I was with Mr. Liz, I told you this, I had taken an edible. So I'm like also learning this as I'm like starting to get a little high. And I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? But, and I was like, I started crying a little bit and he was trying to comfort me and he was like, I was like, I feel a little silly for crying. Like,
no.
I wasn't sure if my reaction was like normal. And then he was like, this is really fucking scary.
Yeah.
So it was also really validating to have someone who will never know what it's like, but to still like want to be an ally and be supportive. And I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah. It's a really scary feeling having no bodily autonomy and having it not, and it being so obviously not about anything other than controlling women.
Yeah.
And
when I was thinking about it, I was like, this isn't the thing that made it so scary to me. Is I was like, this isn't even just abortion because it's not going to stop at this.
No, this is the first, or I mean, it's not even the first. This is like a step going toward something bigger and uglier than what we're looking at right now. And the scariest part of all of this is it's not going to stop abortions. It's going to stop safe abortions. And people that can afford to get abortions are always going to be able to.
Yeah.
And there are so many layers here that like I feel like aren't about the thing, you know? And I read a tweet that was like, girls that are born today are going to have less rights than girls that were born 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And that
makes
terrifying.
Me not want to ever have kids.
No.
To be honest.
No.
I have a couple other things. So not a single state in America has over 30%, like more than 30% of people who want this. That is such a small percentage of people who live here. Like not a single state. Think of all the people who live here. Like, yeah, it's insane. And I was reading an article that was like, what happens when you really ban abortion? Like, and it was an article about when Romania banned abortion in, I believe it was the 60s. They banned abortion and birth control. And what ended up happening is obviously tens of thousands of women died from back alley abortions. And then women had to like smuggle in IUDs from Germany. So you had to like keep it a secret that you're getting an IUD.
It's fucking
or
ridiculous.
like leave the country to go get an IUD.
That's the thing, is like, it's like the contraceptives piece of it is like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Even before pregnancy, you want to control whether or not somebody can get pregnant. Like,
yeah.
it doesn't, it doesn't make any, it makes no sense to me. And like the religious component of it too, where like it's like, well, you know, it's like in the Bible.
Not everyone fucking practices Christianity. What the fuck?
I mean, there's a separation of church and state is like a thing that has always been said. Just because you're pro-choice doesn't mean that you would get an abortion. It just means that you are pro allowing people to make decisions for themselves. Like, if you don't believe, support, agree with abortions, don't get an abortion.
Exactly.
It makes no difference in your life what other people do. People are going to die over this. And it's so transparent, like what the hidden agenda is behind all of this. And that's what's so scary, is it's just like, it feels so, everything feels so backward today. Because regardless of what you believe in or like how you voted, like having a constitutional right taken away from you is terrifying.
Yes.
And controlling someone's body, a whole group of people, nine people are deciding what you and I do with our bodies. Nine people
are making a decision that literally a majority of the country does not want. Oh, so to continue what I had been saying about the article I was reading about what happened in Romania, is there were tons of children just given to orphanages. And they became overrun and they were dirty. These children weren't taken care of at all. They were like chained to beds. And people are like, that wouldn't happen. It's literally fucking happening at our border. So don't tell me it's not gonna happen here, because it's already fucking happening.
It's so hard to talk about something that's so emotionally charged. And also like it's so new. Like it's been 24 hours that we've known about this by the time we're recording. And as Liz said when we first started this rant, like by the time that this comes out, the end of this week, like things might have come out that we didn't know at this point. That's also very scary. It's like, what else is gonna happen?
God,
what else is going on?
Literally the day before, I was having the best fucking day. I had a great day.
Shit can change so fast,
and then it all came crashing in. But we didn't want to go on too much of a tangent about this, just because there are so many different things to talk about when you talk about abortion and women's rights.
Yeah, it's a nice
It
word.
doesn't just stop. It's not black and white. It doesn't just stop at like abortion is bad or good. There's so much. It's so much more complex than that. But we did want to end this with like at least some resources that are available, and I was looking them up for my own safety, potentially stockpiling Plan B pills, like at least having a few on hand and ordering them online instead of getting them at the pharmacy, so they are still available for people who need them in case of emergencies. And then you can also order the Plan C or the abortion pill online. There is a way to get it without a doctor's prescription or a doctor's appointment, but a lot of it is contingent on like what state you're in, but it is dramatically cheaper than if you like went to Planned Parenthood. In Washington, it's about $800 cheaper if you order it online. It's still pretty expensive, but just to have on hand is like, you know, keep your bases covered. You know, I'm like not planning on ever having an abortion, but I would like to have it as an option. And that's the point, is to at least have an option. Yeah. To get the Plan C pill, you can go to plancpills.org or aidaccess.org.
And like there are also, I mean, even if you're, you know, not in a state where you're at risk of losing your rights, at least immediately, like some of the trigger states like Texas, there are funds that you can donate to as well, to like abortion funds for a bunch of different reasons. Like having people come out to states where they can have abortions.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all available online. I know that like I've seen a million links floating around. So just do your research.
Companies like Planned Parenthood have enough money, so look for other resources that are local that you can donate to help too.
Okay, should we talk about more fun stuff? I'm like so exhausted for talking about this.
Yeah.
And thinking about it.
Yeah. I'm actually drinking for...
I know. Usually when Liz comes over, I'm like, do you want a drink? Her answer is usually like, no.
Yeah, because usually I'll have to like...
do something when you get home.
Yeah, do something when I get home or in the morning.
Today she was like, I need alcohol.
Drink.
Yeah.
I'll probably smoke when I get home too.
Yeah, that sounds good. I was talking to my therapist today about CBD.
I was so jealous you were seeing your therapist today. I was like, God, what a good day to go to therapy.
I know, it was the best. I got there and she was just like, you could just tell she was just like waiting for me to bring it up. And I didn't until the end. I was like, I opened my phone to like put our next appointment in there, and I was like, I had a bunch of texts, and I was like, a lot of my guy friends are texting me today about Roe versus Wade. And she was like, why? And I was like, I don't know, just like offering their support. And she was like, honestly, that's the last people that I want to hear from today. She's like, I love that they want to talk about it. Just text me next week. I don't want to talk about it right now. I'm like, okay, girl, I see you with your emotions. You're usually so even keeled. I was talking to my therapist about trying CBD again. Because the last time I tried anything with CBD in it, it had a little bit of THC in it, and I hallucinated for 6 hours. I
mean, that sounds kind of fun to me. But terrifying. I know you probably had a rough time.
It was the fucking worst.
What were you hallucinating, if you don't mind me asking?
Liz, oh my God, this is actually one of my favorite stories now that I'm out of it. In the moment, I was like, if I died right now, I would not be surprised. Like, I was like,
God.
My parents bought these edibles for themselves, and
that's pretty fucking cool. I would like my parents to try some edibles.
They can hang. But they took them, and then they were like, we don't feel anything. Do you want them? And I was like, oh,
hell yeah, brother.
I got this. It's like, my parents aren't feeling, and they were taking it like during the day, you know, so it's not like they would take it and go to sleep. Like, they couldn't feel anything. So it wasn't even like this was a placebo effect for me. I truly thought I had this, and it was a 2-to-1 CBD THC. So I was like, we're fine. So I ate the whole thing.
2-to-1 is pretty.
It's a lot of CBD, but it's also
it's also kind of a lot of THC.
Yeah, I mean, it was like not. It had too little THC for it to have affected me as it did. I was in the shower, and I used to put before I had like a little like shower speaker, I used to put my phone in a cup so it would like amplify. And I was in the shower, and it got really fucking loud. Like, it felt like I was like at a concert, and I was like, what the fuck? So I like took it out of the cup, and I turned down the volume, and I put it back into the cup, but it wouldn't fit in the cup anymore. But it was just because I was like high and like trying to like, and I was like,
did this cup get smaller?
On? Yeah. And then I was like, oh, I'm like high. And then like right when it hit me, it was like fucking downhill from there. I like got out of the shower, and I felt like my body was just kind of like like floating away. My arms were like floating away from me. And I was like, all right, Amelia, you're fine. You're fine. It was only a little bit of THC. Mom and Dad took this. They felt nothing. And so I got into bed, and it was like, I felt like when I was moving, I was like, it was like a strobe light. It was like I was like blinking really hard. Yeah, it was bad. I was like, I would somehow like, my mom was out of town, and I was convinced that my dad knew that I was too high and was like standing on the other side of his door, just like listening to me freaking out. So I was like trying really hard to be quiet. And my dad was like fast. I told him the next day. He's like, oh, fucking, I was asleep in like 2 minutes. But like I kept somehow ending up all the way down 2 stories in my house and outside. I would just like come to, and I would be outside, and then I would freak out because I'd be like, how the fuck did I get outside? Like, I don't remember getting out of bed. And so like that was really scary. I was like Googling how to get unhigh for like hours, and like all of these articles,
they're always like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. All these articles are like, you probably feel like you're gonna die. Nobody's ever died from this before. And I'm like, I do feel like I'm gonna die. I was seriously until 7 a.m. I was like freaking the fuck out.
Oh, that's a nightmare.
And so that was the last time I partook.
Were you on any other medications at the time?
Nope.
Because I was going to say, I Like, I've had some weird times when I've been high, but it's like, I know I'm too high. I'm like, oh God, I'm having all these weird intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
And it, like, I know this isn't normal. And it's very hard to kind of reground yourself or like distract yourself from like thinking about how high you are.
Yeah.
But it got so much better when I was on SSRIs.
Interesting.
So once I started SSRIs, anytime I would get high after that, I was like, this is so nice. This is so enjoyable. Like, I don't feel anxious. I'm like, this is why people like weed.
That is really good to know. I wonder if I would have that
might be worth trying, but I'm not going to be like, yeah, you should do it. It just,
I mean, it's gotten to the point now where it's like nothing is helping me get to sleep, and so I need to try CBD. Like, I just need to get over it, because it's like it wasn't the CBD that made me hallucinate, it's fucking CBD. I feel like I can either handle a body high or a head high, and THC, no matter what strain it is, I have both, and it's too much. And so I'm just like, it's really overwhelming, especially with edibles. Fuck edibles, they're so unpredictable. You never know.
It really depends on like the type you're getting, like the brand,
right? Even
or like if you just bite into it weird, you're like, I'm only gonna have half.
So I wanted to tell a story that I've not told before. I gave you the Reader's Digest version of this right before we started recording, but the reason that it's coming up now is because I matched with a guy from the Seahawks on Hinge.
Ayo.
And he's someone I'd never heard of. That's
I've never
saying
heard
much.
of any of them. So
well, so this guy, I was like, I liked him, and like I sent him a like, and it was because he, like, one of the prompts was how to pronounce my name for the voice note, and he has like just the most basic name, and so he like said how to pronounce it, and I thought that was funny, so I just liked him, and I also saw he was on the Seahawks, and like I'm like, that's kind of cool. Let's see what happens. So I sent him a like, and then we matched, and then I noticed that his Hinge said that he was a flat earther, and you're
like, is that a bit?
Yeah, I was like, hopefully
he might
you
as well
don't
have
mean
said
that.
like, I don't believe jet fuel can melt steel beams.
Yeah, right. I'm just like, this is what we're choosing to, I mean, I guess lead with crazy if you're going to, but I said, is that a joke? And then he unmatched with me, so it was not. But anyway, it reminded me that during the draft, like 4 years ago, I was still with my ex, so it must have been like 4 years ago. It was when DK Metcalf just got drafted, and like everybody was like so fucking hyped. I'm
gonna look up this guy while you're talking.
Oh, he's like 2% body fat. This man is a fucking rock. I'm gonna wait for you to look at what he looks like.
He looks like a rendering of a buff man.
Yeah he is an incredible athlete, and when he got drafted, I'm pretty sure he got drafted right out of college because he's young. He was 21 when he got drafted, and I followed him on Instagram, and then a few months later I like went to unfollow him, and then I was like, oh no, like he's new on the Seahawks, I'll like continue to follow him. So I followed him again. It was like 2 a.m, and right when I followed him again, he messaged me the 2 eyes emoji.
Oh, like the side eye looking?
Side eye looking, and I was like, haha, hi, with like the waving emoji. He sent the eyes, the side eyes. I said, ha ha ha, with the waving hand. He said, you in Bellevue? And I said, no, because I lived in Kirkland at the time, which is like 10 minutes from Bellevue. And he said, I got you. I said, next city over. You liking it here so far? He said, yeah, LOL, weather is pretty good. So you can Uber here? This was 2 a.m. I was with my ex at the time. And I was just like, so I screenshotted it and went to bed. Because I was like, it's a good story to tell. I woke up in the morning and he had unsent the eyes, and he had unsent the so you can Uber here part. Yeah. So it
Good
looked
thing you
like
screenshotted
I
it.
know. I was like, nobody would have believed
so
that
it looked
happened.
Like you DM'd him first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What a fucking goblin.
I know. But he was like a nobody for like a lay person at the time. It was a big deal when he got drafted, but like I was like, I don't know who the fuck this is. He's just like a kid that got drafted on the Seahawks. And then he was like the star child like the next like 3 seasons, and I had to keep watching him just like kill it and like do so well and be like, it meant nothing for him to be sliding into my DMs. I wish that I had done it for the story. Like just to be like, yes. But then
he would have given you an STD for sure.
he would have split me in half. Like, that man is enormous. Like, that would have been an experience for sure. And like, probably not in a super comfy way.
I don't think it would have been a good experience. Just based on the interaction you've explained so far, he doesn't seem like someone who gives a fuck about women coming.
No, definitely not. But like, God, that'd be such a good story. Just like seeing him on TV, be like, yeah, I fucked that guy. Slid in my DMs at 2 a.m. and I went over to his house. But there was this story. The reason that I'm okay with saying his name now, because I didn't want to like exploit this conversation when it's just like whenever somebody's like hitting someone up for sex, like I do that shit all the time. There was a sex worker who he had like connected with on social media, and they like had hooked up like a couple of times, and then she was on her way over to his house once and he was like, oh no, sorry, turn around, like I actually can't hang out. And she was like, okay. So she turned around and left, and then she got a text from him like an hour later and was like, wait, come back, do you want to have a foursome?
What the fuck?
Which is like objectively funny. Like, it's just kind of like, this dude's just like really trying his luck like wherever he can. He like has all of this fame. He's a good looking dude. He has all this fame and all this money now. And like, if these people want to have a foursome, then like good for them, which is fine, whatever. And like, she said no, and that's fine. He didn't like push it. But then she went on this like campaign to like fucking destroy him over this for like a couple of weeks. And everyone's like, what's the big deal? Like, it's just sex, you know? But then I was thinking, what if I went over to DK Metcalf's house and ended up having a foursome that night?
Would you do that?
No, but it would have been so fucking funny to find myself in that situation. Just like me rolling up. That was before I started like hooking up with people. Just like in my like little puffy coat. Just like, and there being like all of these women there with DK Metcalf.
Wait, so would it have been a foursome with 3 other women?
Mm-hmm. I wonder how many times he's done this.
Well, he doesn't seem very strategic.
No, not at all.
So
he has no tact. He gave like 0 fucks when he brought this up to her. He's like, come back. I know I told you not to come over, but foursome? He probably had a threesome. He probably had a great time.
I mean, maybe.
But in another life, I had a foursome with DK Metcalf.
That's true. In another life, that was you.
That was me. In another reality. But I'm really happy I took those screenshots because
you got the receipts.
He fucking tried to get away with it.
Yeah, to unsend some shit. That's so obnoxious.
And then, you know what's fucked up? Like a month after that, somebody messaged me on Instagram, like pretending to be DK's like agent, like real estate agent. Like it was something not related to like work business at all. He was like a real estate agent, being like, hey, I know DK, I can introduce you to him, like fill out this survey. And I sent a screenshot to DK and I was like,
what is this?
I was like, I think somebody's like using your name to like get money out of people. And then he read it and didn't respond. I was like, I'm trying to do you a solid. I bet it was just like
him on a burner.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, I'm trying to get news.
Yeah. So he doesn't need to do all of that. The dude posts Bible verses like every day. And I'm just like,
yeah, you better be praying because you need Jesus.
Oh man. But anyway, I think my rule is no more musicians and no athletes.
I think the thing, so what I've been noticing and think when you seem interested in people who are like somewhat in the spotlight, I think it's just also because you're trying to find someone who is keeping up with like where you're at.
I was talking to my therapist about that today.
Yeah, and can like relate to that because you have all of these things. I know we talked about this recently. You have all of these things that, like creative endeavors that you're so passionate about, and you make time for them while also working your ass off at work. Amelia just won an award. I will brag for her. She just won an award at my old company, her company. And it's hard to get noticed there because it's huge. So
thank you. I
think it's a really big deal. And then you also like you make time for the people that you care about. Like that is so fucking hard to balance all of that.
Thank you.
So you're attracted to these creative types because they it's hot when someone's passionate about something that is hard to do. Like music or art or playing sports or like literally anything that is not just a stereotypical like marketing job or tech job. Like it's interesting and unique and different and like exciting. And so you're looking for someone who can keep up with that. And then there's just like not a lot of, no offense to the boys, but like there's not a lot of good options for someone who's like Amelia, looking for someone who's like passionate about something creative.
Yeah.
Because they'll either be a fucking dick, they're just like an asshole who's like, yes, I am the first poet in the world. Yeah. And then they just like, they think they're the only one who's ever written slam poetry before or something. or they like are just really half-assed. Like they aren't actually good at what they like say they're gonna do, or they just don't do what they like want to do.
That's the thing. You know? It's like, it's not only, thank you for saying that, because it's like, it's tough because
no, I like have dated guys like that where you're like, okay, then fucking do it.
Yeah. That's the thing. Is
don't talk about it, be about it.
I was talking to my therapist today. I'm like, I feel like, am I too hard on these men because they're not like?
No, you're doing it.
Yeah,
you already have less privilege available to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. But she was like, no, you just want people that are where you're at. Which is true. Like, I don't want to have to hold someone's hand to do well. I want somebody that's passionate enough about what they do to just like do it.
But that's also something so important to you that you need to relate to someone.
Yeah.
In that way.
I don't want to hold someone's hand to get them to be great. And I think I keep falling for people's potential, which is where I fall into these potholes with dating, where I'm like, this person is so talented and good at what they do. That's enough for me. And it's like, no, there are so many people that are so good at what they do, and like they don't have that extra push to just like go and do it. And like there are things like depression and anxiety and but like that when laziness is the thing, that is the most unattractive thing ever. And then I get stuck in this headspace of like, am I just being too picky or like expecting too much, when in reality, like my only expectation is somebody that is passionate about something and does it. That's like not, I'm sick of being gaslit
like,
into thinking my expectations are too high.
You just want them to be trying.
Yeah.
So it's not even like you are asking for someone to be like the most fucking successful like actor or singer in the world. Yeah. It's like, as long as you are trying, that's it. They don't even have to be trying their hardest. No. Because maybe you don't have time or energy to try your hardest at something. No. That's fine.
Right.
But just try. Making the effort.
Just do something. I was talking to the poet about, I just took my friend's photos.
I feel bad that I just said like something about slam poetry. This person's,
it's not about the poet.
Yeah. This person's not actually a poet.
No, that's just what we call him. But I was talking to the poet on the way to, we went and took my friend's photos because he's releasing his first song this week. So I was like taking photos for him. And I was showing the poet like what the inspiration photos were. And he was like,
I love that for you.
Yeah. And he was like, you know how to do this? And I'm like, no, but I'm going to figure it out. And that's just like, so I didn't even think anything of it. I was just like, I'll just like, fucking figure it out. And he was like, that's amazing. Like, not everybody has that. And I'm like, I think that they do, but people just don't. Like,
well, it's so much easier to not.
Yeah, right. Just to be like, I don't know how to do it. I don't want to do it. But it's like, there's something that is so like appealing, and something that I think it's because I love it about myself that like I can just like, if I want to do something, I'll just fucking figure out how to do it. That when I don't find that in the person that I'm dating, I'm just kind of like, ugh. Like, there's no excuse to not just like fucking try. Like, if you don't want to try doing this, are you not going to try to like put a lot into a relationship? Like, I think if you can pursue something you're passionate about, you can like work really hard at like doing well in a relationship and like making sure that you're like creating this life with someone that you can be proud of. I'm not trying to hold someone's hand to get there. I'm sick of doing that shit.
Yeah. Good for you. Well, I also like thinking of, I know we've quoted this in the past, but Maddie, again, on Euphoria, when she's like, no one knows if confidence is real or not. It's fucking made up. Everything we have is made up.
Yeah. Yes. It's all a construct. Yeah. It's fake it till you make it is such a thing. Fake it till you make it.
But then you could also be on the other end like me once you realize everything is made up and just have like continuous existential crises every day I wake up and I'm having an existential crisis. It hasn't left.
What's your current existential crisis?
I think my current existential crisis is when you are born, you just are a person, like, and there's all these rules that are made up about how to live your life. And that's fucking insane to me. Like,
damn.
It does that. I don't know if I'm even explaining
that makes
well.
sense. I
like,
mean, you're born into this.
Yeah,
mold.
you have no control. And then like you don't decide where, like, what you are born as or where or into what kind of family or circumstance, and then you just like have to like learn all of these fucking made up things, and you're like, why did we make this shit so hard? This is worse.
Yeah.
This is not good.
No. And it was like,
and we're all like, well, this is how it is.
Yeah, right. And I think it was created to make things easier, and it's not.
No.
It makes everything harder.
Like, even just like doing your fucking taxes. You're like, wait,
taxes.
You know how much money you owe me or I owe you, and like you won't just tell me?
Like, I have to solve a fucking riddle to get to the answer you have.
And then I get in trouble if I don't get it right, and I'm doing my best. How does that make any sense? Just, I don't know. It's just fucking just bananas.
Mail you what you owe.
Yeah. Like other countries have it figured out somewhat better, but like even in general, there's just all these like weird fucking rules that we like just made up. Like, or I didn't even get to participate in this decision.
It's so fucked.
It's weird.
There are so many instances. Today was perfect. I don't mean to go back to the conversation we were having before, but somebody from Canada texted me like, what's going on with abortion? And I was like, that's so fucking peaceful that you don't know. And it's the same thing with taxes. It's like, oh, you guys have to fucking what do you have to do during tax season is a thing?
Have you seen like Americans will ask Europeans how much they think something costs in America,
like
some
ambulance rides?
Yeah. And I just like when I think about how marketing has controlled so much of what we believe, it blows my mind. I'm like, no, you didn't even know you needed this, or thought you didn't think about it until someone like made something completely made up about it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, like right now I keep thinking about like skincare shit. I'm like, we don't need all this skincare shit.
No, I know.
We're just sold this idea that we are born with shit inherently wrong with us that we need to fix for the rest of our life until we die.
Yep.
And it's exhausting and strange.
And they're always making new things to worry about. I talked about this last week on our little solo sods. I missed you.
I missed you too.
Doing that at all.
I was having a fucking meltdown. You were there for me, though. You knew what I was going through.
God, I could not believe you were dealing with what you were dealing with last week.
Yeah, just to recap, I mentioned it briefly, but my computer completely stopped working. It kept locking me out. We have somewhat of a Band-Aid right now, but
I would have fully spiraled.
I was crying.
Yeah, are you kidding? Oh my God, I would have been I would still be crying. Be having like shock waves after that.
I was like, I can't afford a new computer. I can't. So hopefully we figure this out.
I wanted to ask you, do you believe once a cheater, always a cheater?
That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, I say no, but I also think it depends on like the circumstances in which someone cheated.
Totally.
Like just what else was going on in that relationship, because some people are just cruel, or like they're just pretty like narcissistic and they don't care about the consequences of their actions or the people that they're hurting. They're just going to do what they want. And then there's other circumstances where it's like, I'm afraid to leave this relationship, or like I still love my partner, but things are terrible.
Yeah.
And I don't know, if it's a bad relationship and they break up anyways, I think that's kind of more of a variable situation of like, you were already unhappy, but you were afraid to leave because change is fucking scary. So I think in that circumstance, it's like, okay, something inside you always knew this wasn't going to work out. I'm not saying I agree with it or that it's a good way to like go about things.
Right. Yeah.
But
I agree.
it really depends on the person.
Mm-hmm. And the
I think
circumstance, like you said.
Yeah, you can tell pretty quickly. Like, if you have like a good bullshit detector, you can tell pretty quickly if someone has cheated before, if they're going to continue to be a cheater forever.
Totally.
Because I think some people will cheat and continue to cheat because they got away with it once.
Mm-hmm.
So why would they stop?
Yeah. And some people just like are not cut out for monogamy. And nobody is making you be monogamous, so don't be in a fucking relationship. Stop hurting people in the process.
Exactly. No one's making you be monogamous. And you could, like, if you don't want to be monogamous, you can enter a relationship with that as a contingency.
Mm-hmm.
As long as everyone's aware.
Yeah. Communication is key.
But why'd you ask that?
I was just thinking about it because, like, it really is such a thing that, like, I see it all the time where people are like, no, he cheated. I found out that he cheated on his ex-girlfriend, like, in high school. And, like, now, it's, like, stuff like that it's, like, okay, I understand the idea of once a cheater, always a cheater. Because if somebody's capable of doing that, then, like, what's stopping them from doing it again? But, like you're saying, there are so many circumstances that feed into why people cheat. Like, personal life stuff, the relationship isn't good, the point in your life that you're in, drugs and alcohol. Like, there are so many things that, like, I know some people that have cheated that feel fucking awful about it and are, like, never gonna forgive themselves for it. And, like, in those circumstances, I'm like, I don't think making blanket statements like that is, like,
yeah,
fair.
I do think that if someone cheated on their partner with you and you think they're gonna be different with you, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Tristan Thompson.
You should know. Yeah, you should stay away.
Yeah.
I have only seen one circumstance where they, like, got married. How much would that fucking kill you?
It would actually destroy me.
Yeah, if someone married the person that they cheated on you with.
I know a few people very close to me that happened to them. Yeah.
Oh, that's nauseating.
I know. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like people are always really afraid to tell their partner that they've cheated in the past. It's, like, always a thing that's, like, they don't say anything to each other, like, about it early on in the relationship because they're afraid of how the person's going to react. And I think a big part of that is, like, a once a cheater, always a cheater kind of, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want them to, like, get stuck thinking that this is, like, a character trait of mine. So I don't know. I think, like, just how I feel about it is, like, trust your best judgment. I think it's, like, if you believe that this person can do this again, then I think that you're probably never going to trust them. Mm-hmm. Or there's always going to be this thing in the back of your mind that they might do it again. And that is up to you to decide if, like, you want to push past that. But I think saying once a cheater, always a cheater, like, as a blanket term is not fair.
No.
I see it all the time.
Well, because, like, most things, it's not black and white.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I keep thinking about? You and I had texted about this separately. A good indicator that a relationship is not going to work out is if in the beginning it's hard.
Yeah.
At the beginning of a relationship, that's when there aren't any stakes. That's when it should be the most fun. So if it's hard, even at the beginning, when things should be the most fun and easy, it's not going to get better.
Yeah. Yep. My therapist said something similar to that today, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, she was saying, I was explaining, like, a situation to her. I don't remember what it was, but she was like, if things are that difficult early on in the relationship and you already can't work past them, that's your answer. Mm-hmm. Was in so few words. What she said wasn't verbatim. But I was like, I mean, that's so true. I think
it's good advice. I wish I had known that when I was younger.
Right, because when you're younger, it's like you want this, like, fiery, passionate, like, fighting through things, working through things, and, like, the movies have not, like, set us up for, successful relationships.
Well, my mindset was just, like, I wanted to get married. Mm-hmm. I wasn't thinking about anything else. Like, I was also thinking this earlier this week, because I was thinking about that advice, and then I was thinking about who I was when I was younger, like early 20s and stuff, and how I was dating and treating dating, because I was just looking to get married. I was thinking, like, oh, I'll get married and have kids because that's just, like, the only thing I've been taught I should do or want. And I had it in my mind that like, okay, well, once I get engaged, I'll be happy, and not really like facing like this relationship isn't right.
Yeah.
You're not happy. It's not going to get better just because you're engaged or married.
Yeah. It's like couples that think that having kids is going to solve problems.
Yeah, they're like, we hate each other. Let's have a kid.
It's like, that's the worst thing that you can do when you're not happy.
I wasn't thinking like big picture about those things because I didn't really have. I realized how sheltered I grew up and what a privileged life I led. Like, I had the privilege of not knowing that hardships existed for people. Mm-hmm. And, like, I know that, you know, some people are going to maybe be critical of that, but you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Like, it's not like I was intentionally, like, being ignorant to these things that existed. It's because I was protected from knowing it existed.
Right.
And, you know, obviously the more I learn, the more I care. Mm-hmm. So just thinking about those things, like, I wish I had known that advice when I was younger of like, it's hard now and it shouldn't be hard. It should be really fucking fun.
Yeah, the beginning is the fun part. It's scary. Yeah. It can feel scary and chaotic, but it shouldn't be hard.
Yeah. It's like thrilling.
Yeah.
It's like a little roller coaster ride. You're like so excited and it's fun.
Yeah.
And you get to do fun stuff together. So if it's hard from out the gates,
it's the honeymoon phase.
It's because I can't think of a single relationship where you're like, yeah, it is fun at first when we meet, but then like very shortly after it sucks.
Yeah.
But I can't think of a single relationship I've had where it's been like easy right away. Until now.
Yeah. I mean, the beginning of the relationship with Squints was really easy and fun, but like, mm-hmm. We also both knew that was never going to turn into anything, so maybe that's why we allowed it to be fun. I don't think I've really ever had, I mean, I've really only had one real relationship, and that was good from a very immature standpoint. Like, neither of us really understood mm-hmm. what we were doing. And I'm wondering, like, am I capable at this point in my life to just like let it be? I don't know. That's another thing that I was talking.
What do you mean, let it be?
Like, just like have fun with someone and not like put too much pressure on it. Or
well, it's because there's a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah.
Just societally.
That's so fucking real.
It's not like you're putting pressure on yourself or other people. It's like there are just all of these looming expectations, mm-hmm. especially as a woman in your late 20s.
Oh my God.
It might as well be a fucking death sentence.
Yeah.
I get so annoyed when people are like, you don't look 30. I'm like, bitch, I'm 2 years older than you. Yeah. What do you think happens in just 2 years?
How am I supposed to look when I'm 30?
It's obnoxious. I was thinking about when I was at emo night with Mr. Liz. This girl in line at the bathroom was like, you're 30? No fucking way. I'm 26. I feel so old. And I was like, I am only 4 years older than you. Like, think of just the difference between like what a like, I don't know, like a 22-year-old and a 26-year-old looks like. It's not that big of a difference.
Yeah, that's like, so true.
What do you think's going to happen?
That's so true. It's really just like the difference in like decades.
Yeah.
It's like, what the like, it's not, 30 is so young.
Yes, your 30s are luxurious as fuck. I'm telling y'all. Being in your 30s, I'm just a tiny inch into my 30s and I love it.
I love that for you.
Me too.
The 20s are a plight.
I think also I just like love the number 3.
It's a good number.
So, yeah.
It's a good number. That's my lucky number is 3.
I have like a really good feeling about 31. I don't know why.
Ooh.
It just I feel like it's just like going to be so good.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah. I don't know why.
Well, hopefully I have a good 29. We can have like a good 29 and 31 together.
Yeah, we will. I loved 29. It was a good
lot
time.
Of people do. People really love
mm-hmm.
But then like I feel like 30 is everyone's favorite year. That's what I've been hearing.
We're going to top this off with circling back to a topic from last week. So Amelia and I were talking about how people will break their femurs to be taller. And I mentioned that the only reason people care about like a man's height is a result of patriarchal standards that have infantilized women. So, and this isn't, I'm not just making this up. These things exist. Like foot binding and making your feet tiny, like waist cinchers and corsets, and
like neck lengtheners. Well, that's some cultural in some senses, but like for like beauty standards, that's a thing that people do.
Expecting women to be hairless. It's just like things like the expectation that women should be small and young looking forever. And this is just that coming out the other end. That's what I was explaining. So, you know, women are like, I want to feel tiny and feminine and petite, so I want a tall man.
Like protected.
Yeah. And I got this fucking ridiculous DM, and we very rarely get like obnoxious DMs or comments, and when we do, we ignore them because like I don't fucking care. And this one I was like, you know what? I'm fucking sick of it. I'm done. And so I'm going to read the DM. And then we'll discuss. And this person is going to be fucking stoked that I'm reading this DM. But this is going to be the last time I even acknowledge this. So this man, this white, cisgender, heterosexual man who looks like he's in his late 30s, DM'd me. You should get a gold medal for the logical acrobatics you perform to justify body shaming guys isn't as big a deal as for women because the patriarchy. I'm a fan of the show and still am, and I always considered you the more grounded one, but that's the first thing I've ever heard you say that cost you some respect points. Woo! So let's break this down. I mean, first of all, I did not fucking said that.
You never said that.
No, I also, to like equate me explaining why a like societal standard exists is not me agreeing with it or defending it, because I don't care about height of the people I date. I never have. I don't. I care. I just want to be attracted to my partner, and that's it. And then you had also said like it's really sad, and I was like, yeah, it is sad, and like we also need to consider why this exists.
There was no point in that episode. I listened again too, and I knew that you hadn't said it, but I was like, what maybe gave this person the impression that you might have said
so that
this?
was my thought process too. So I read this and I was like, what the fuck? And then I was with Mr. Liz, and then we put it on my speaker, and I fast forwarded to like the part where we were talking about that, and then we listened to the entire conversation, like the exchange between you and me, how I explained that, and then he was like, this guy is like completely making up something that neither of you ever said. Like,
yeah,
there is no body shaming involved. Yes, this man is begging to be offended about something. Yeah, like because that's just like, that's how things are now. Like, people want to be offended because it makes you seem interesting. Yeah. You want to be the person with the hot take because it makes you seem interesting. And I'm not saying like just this guy or like men explicitly. I think it's everyone. Every kind of person, you know, myself included, you know, I'll say I've done that before where you're like, I want to be interesting, so here's my opinion. Because it makes me seem smart.
It's just there's a difference between doing that though and anchoring it to reality, and then this, which is like you didn't say anything.
This isn't anchored in reality at all.
The sorts.
And I wasn't just like making this up and grasping at straws.
Right, you didn't just pull this out of thin air.
No.
And you know what really bugged me? I mean, right when Liz sent me this message, and I read the part that was like, you were always the more grounded of the two.
Okay, yeah. Let's keep breaking this down.
I was like, I texted her back and like, welcome to the dark side, Liz. But then I was thinking about how fucked up it is to be pitting me and Liz against each other.
Absolutely.
In the sense of one of us being more grounded than the other. We have different opinions about things, but we're not out trying to like, you know, like adhere to somebody's standards of like what is grounded and what isn't, especially a man. A straight cis man, which is like we love the men that listen to this podcast 100%, but we're speaking from the female perspective, and what you consider grounded is not the reality of the situation.
And I'm also going to be blatantly honest here. We don't make this podcast for men. I'm sorry. Like, if you're here, great. That is so cool. And we hope you're learning. And like, we hope everyone's learning, to be honest.
Yeah.
And when I was talking to Mr. Liz about it, because I was like, you know, we don't make this podcast for men. And then he was like, I think that the men who listen because they think it's interesting to hear your perspective as women. They want to hear a different perspective. And I was like, I totally agree with that. Like, that's definitely the feedback that we get. And very rarely, like, are men gonna like DM us and say something fucking stupid. And I think like this, to like you said, trying to pit us against each other, like, oh, you're the more grounded one. I was like, you fucking think that? I will fight you.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the thing, is like, I don't ever want to feel, and there's never been a sense of competition between the two of us. So it's like the fact that a man has said that, when it's like such a trope for like women to be competing against each other in every scenario. Like when we posted that video on TikTok when I was talking about Music Man and you were like, I don't like him, and we had all those comments like, well, you would be competition if you did like him. And it's like, we're not competing in any sense here.
No.
But men just are, they so bad, not all men, but they so badly want to believe that women are always competing for the like appreciation,
for their approval
and approval from men.
Literally never. And it's because that's just how we have all grown up to be. Like, we've all grown up in the same environment in terms of like a man's approval is what is come to be expected. Because like, even if we pull, I'm trying to think of like how I can phrase this. So if a good example is just like academia, like, and professionalism, those standards were set by white men.
Yeah.
So that's just what people expect, like that everyone's gonna want their approval and whatever. And also for this person, like I was like talking to Mr. Liz and I was like, I wish he could understand the irony of him saying like dangling his respect points in front of my face.
Yes.
Like, I fucking care. Like,
yeah.
I didn't ask. I don't care about if I have this one man's specific respect or not. Like,
yeah. I also think what was especially hurtful about it too, at least from the perspective of like not getting the message, was that this is somebody that listens to us, and like, it's not like some rando on TikTok or like somebody that listened to an episode one-off. It's somebody that's like gotten to know us well and still like,
is grasping at straws to be upset about something that first of all, we never said.
Right. And like, this is not to say like we love getting feedback and like your opinions, and you know, and like hopefully it's not coming off as we're talking about this like we feel like we're holier than thou. It's just like coming from somebody who the podcast isn't for, who claims that they listen and know us, to then like say so many hurtful things back to back to back.
It's like you haven't been listening this entire time.
Yeah.
Like,
so just like think before you speak.
To not understand what our friendship is and the type of environment that we're creating. And like, obviously I struck a nerve somehow.
Yeah,
like,
no
I don't know if he's short.
Yeah.
And even if he is short, that doesn't fucking matter. And so this was my response. At no point were either of us body shaming or saying it was okay, and providing an explanation is not agreeing or defending anything. I didn't just make this up. These are things women have been aware of and have experienced, and I'm sorry you didn't like hearing it. I can speak to the patriarchy because I'm directly oppressed by it. You need to take a step back and look at how you are reacting to something so benign. And I want to make you fully aware that I do not make this podcast for you or for men or for your approval. My partner told me to not even bother responding to you because you've already made up your mind. But to be plainly honest, I'm tired of babysitting men's fragile egos. And it's true. Like, I think so many women can relate to this. I'm just sick of like politely having to explain something to a man.
Yeah. Like,
I don't want to like babysit your ego anymore.
No.
I'm just fucking sick of it. I don't have the energy to do that anymore. I shouldn't be expected to politely explain myself because you're irrationally mad about something that you took out of context because you just didn't understand.
Yeah.
You wanted to be upset about something that was never said and missed the point entirely. That is not my fault.
No.
And it's not my responsibility to hold someone's hand and explain that to them.
It's also not your responsibility to police how people feel.
No.
That's not your however someone if your intentions are not like ill, then it is not your responsibility to make sure somebody doesn't get upset about it.
Well, and like women are always put in that position
Yeah.
of having to politely like calm down a man's feelings so they don't get hurt in general. Like not in this exchange specifically because it was online.
Right.
I just am done feeling the need to have to like be polite when I should just be able to say what I need to say directly.
Yes. Amen. I'm glad that you said what you said.
Yeah, and then I blocked him because while he was typing, because I was like, no, the conversation's over.
Mm-hmm.
I am not inviting like a discussion now. And if you're listening, still great. I hope that you understand this viewpoint now, but like I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
And I never did.
Right. If you're going to choose not to understand either of us, then like we can't help you. You can listen to a different podcast.
It was just like so bizarre to me to like double down on like a dumb take.
Yeah.
To just make something up. To just be like, I'm going to make up something you never said and be super mad about it.
Right. Right. like I really can't help you there.
That is a you issue, bud. Like that has nothing to do with me.
I mean, like we'll be the first to say when we, for instance, the Baja Men. Apparently, it's not about ugly women who let the dogs out.
Someone sent us like there's like a documentary about Baja
know.
Men.
Yeah. So that was after you had texted me. You're like, where did you hear this? Because like after the episode came out, I was like, oh, I'll find the article. And I went to look it up. And now there's all these articles that are like, yeah, that theory is actually untrue. It's actually a feminist fucking anthem. So justice for the Baja Men.
So the dogs are the men?
The dogs are the men that catcall. Who let the dogs out?
Who let the dogs out?
Mm-hmm. And like misogynists tried to like change the narrative on what it's about because like they have to have everything, including who let the dogs out. Our feminist anthem. We're going to change our theme song to who let the dogs out.
Who let the dogs out?
Who? So anyway, apologies to the Baja Men, but I say that to say we will always say when we feel like we've said something wrong, made a mistake, like spoke out of turn, like we've done that before. Mm-hmm. This is one of those instances where it's just like chill out and like consider the source before you attack people.
Also, like consider the words I'm actually fucking saying.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
At no point was I like, it's so much worse for women.
Yeah, exactly.
Than short men.
Yeah, exactly. But we got an email that is like kind of on this theme.
So we'll wrap it up with this email because I was reading it and I thought it was really funny. So it's titled Short Men, a Good Story. I'm 5'1" and always used to joke that of course I'd never date a man shorter than me because no one is shorter than me. Then I met a man who was exactly my height. Joke's on me, I guess, because we've been married for 13 years now. He doesn't care if I wear heels and look taller than him because really, who cares? And I'd never be with a man who thinks they can tell me what to wear or do anyways. Word. Mm-hmm. As he puts it, feminism helps everyone since I'm happy to help him do man stuff like demo our bathroom while in lockdown and take out the garbage, and he cleans toilets, swoon. Anyway, give non-toxic shorter men a chance and don't encourage purposely breaking femurs. I heard that, queen.
Fucking men.
I've dated men my height.
Have you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
But I'm also kind of like,
you're taller than me.
Yeah. How tall are you?
I'm like almost 5'3", like 5'2.5". But yeah, I've dated guys like my height or barely taller than me.
And you lived to tell the tale.
I did. They're very hot, and I stand by that.
Some of the greatest guys I know are shorter guys.
Oh.
Womp womp. Well, that feels like a good time to wrap.
Yeah, our camera just died, so
RIP to the camera. Follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram at The Holy Hour. Email us hoelyhourpodcast@gmail.com. At Amelia Samson on everything for moi.
I'm Liz T-Ball on Twitter and Liz Ball So Hard on TikTok and Instagram. I don't really post on TikTok, but maybe I'll start.
I'm working on her, y'all.
Yeah.
She's so funny, and she doesn't ever post on TikTok, and it kills my soul.
It's because I get stuck doom scrolling.
That's fair.
At all of the things that make me sad, and I'm like, why isn't this making me feel better?
Wow. True. Okay, well, encourage Liz to create on TikTok. I'm gonna throw you under the bus here. Everyone tell TikTok to Liz. Everyone tell Liz to make TikToks. That's your homework assignment for the week. Anyway, thanks for listening.
And we love you, our children.
Thank you.